Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
It's time for another episode of All Politics Are Local with your host, Barry D.
That's right, you are listening to WCHE in Westchester, Announcer Lady, and I am back and ready for another All Politics Are Local show, which has not been banned from Phoenixville yet, but I'm sure that day is coming.
All right.
I am sitting at Chester County's only AM and FM radio station, located on the 17th floor of the WCHE Studios corporate building at 105 West Gay Street in Westchester. Now, we are just a few doors down from the Board Trading Cafe at 139 West Gay Street with a 4.5-star rating on the Google and a description that says, it is a dynamic eatery that merges creative culinary artistry with a laid-back, community-driven atmosphere. Our menu features an array of salads, chicken sandwiches and smash burgers, catering to those looking for bold flavors and high quality ingredients. Boy, I'm really screwing this up for them, aren't I? We bring an elevated twist to casual dining. To top it all off, we serve a variety of sweet treats and specialty drinks, including house-baked gourmet cookies, espresso drinks, coffee, and matcha, which I still don't know what matcha is. Anyway, that's another shameless plug for one of the neighboring businesses. You may ask, Barry, what have you got on the agenda today?
Not really.
Oh, sure you do. You just didn't say it out loud. I've got my Bud Light commercial, 5 Minutes with Jack. Carla from Chester County Ramblings has a bunch of stuff to do, so she's taking a month away from the show, so we are Carla safe if you don't like her, and you're never safe if you don't like me. And then there's a guest from East Fallowfield Township to talk about running one of the only businesses in the entire township. At the boards is Eric Clambera, former body double for Vanilla Ice.
Pretty hard to believe.
Yeah, well, just because I said something with the word ice in it, don't start protesting me.
If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
Eric is available for breakdancing events and bridal showers.
Are you kidding me?
I wish I was. It's time to head back into the time machine we call our memory. That's right. You know how we all wistfully harken back to a simpler time. A time of less pressure, less aggravation, and less political correctness. Well, I'm here to deliver that to you with a commercial from Bud Light, a company that one time made commercials that most people laughed at, and a few others, well, that just didn't matter. Anyway, back when Bud Light, they made money because it had good marketing. Let's travel back a quarter century together and relive those days for 1 minute.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Dishonest Cable TV Hooker-Upper.
Mr. Dishonest Cable TV Hooker-Upper.
On any given day, somewhere between 9 and 4:30, you arrive ready to bring us the world. And for an extra 20, you'll bring us porn.
A naughty, naughty boy.
Hey, you've already got the van and the jumpsuit. Why not get into criminal activity?
Just a naughty boy.
After all, what are they going to do? Throw you in cable jail?
I don't think so.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, manhandler of the Scrambler, because isn't it about time someone hooked you up?
Mr. Dishonest Cable TV Hooker-Upper.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
And now, it's time for my monologue.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
You know, on our weekly morning show political segment this past Monday, that's March 2nd, the guests were Dan Truitt, a former state representative, and Tom Buglio, a Democrat committeeman in Malvern. You know, this is a great segment we do every week, and I implore people to turn in and hear both sides of the issue. This week kind of caught me off guard with something one of the guests said, so I had to spend time doing research into the validity of the claim. You know what I say? If you lie, I'm going to catch you. Sometimes it's not a lie. Sometimes people just don't know better, or they heard stuff and they just repeated it and it wasn't true. Okay? So there went a couple hours of my life. The question was about the attack on Iran, and Mr. Buglio said, and I quote, I wanted to make sure I got this right, I think that the military actions that he, meaning President Trump, has taken so far that he is really getting used to doing are illegal, anti-constitutional, and immoral, and probably all three, starting with the blowing up of those boats in the Caribbean, where he just authorized the use to just blow up ships that he accused of carrying drugs to the United States. That's absolutely illegal and amounts to state-sponsored murder. Venezuela, as bad as Maduro was, he He attacked the country against international law and the UN Charter and has seized the oil mostly for the benefit of the United States, not for the benefit of the Venezuelans. It's like gunboats diplomacy from the 1800s. Okay. So here's what I found out. Now, this is strictly factual. There are no feelings in this. So if you want to send your hate mail because it's based on your emotions, I don't know what to tell you. Look, the critics of President Trump have argued that the use of U.S. military force against drug cartels and traffickers violates both domestic and international law, describing the policy as unprecedented. How often do we hear that? A review of history and existing law? Well, that kind of suggests otherwise. The United States has been involved in its military, with its military in counter-narcotics operations for decades. In 1986, during the Ronald Reagan administration, the U.S. Army infantry units and aviation assets, they were deployed alongside Bolivian forces to combat drug producers in that country. Several years later, in 1993, President Bill Clinton issued a presidential decision directive on counter-narcotics in the Western Hemisphere that specifically assigned the U.S. military a significant role in drug interdiction efforts. These precedents demonstrate that the integration of military capabilities into anti-drug operations, that's not a novel development, ladies and gentlemen. Congress also approved statutory authority for such actions. The National Defense Authorization Act of 1995 expanded the government's ability to employ military resources in drug interdiction missions. For example, Title 14 of the United States Code, subsection 526, permits the use of force against vessels engaged in narcotics trafficking, while 8 U.S.C. subsection 1189 allows the government to designate narco-terror organizations as foreign terrorist organizations. These authorities, widely used by successive administrations since the terrorist attacks of 9/11, clearly allow investigative, financial, and military tools aimed at combating transnational criminal groups. International law likewise provides relevant guidance. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea authorizes enforcement actions against stateless vessels. How about that? That's ones that have no flag on them, right? Suspected of engaging in crimes such as piracy or slave trading, among other actions such as illicit traffic of narcotic drugs. Also psychotropic drugs, by the way, but didn't think I needed to put that in. Historically, such vessels have been labeled hostis humani generis, enemies of mankind, a designation that has long justified international enforcement measures on the high seas. The Trump administration also sought legal review before implementing its policy. Admiral Alvin Halsey, commander of the U.S. Southern Command, requested a legal determination regarding potential strikes on suspected drug smuggling vessels. The Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel subsequently advised the Pentagon that the proposed operations were lawful under U.S. and international law. According to that guidance, the operations were conducted in compliance with the law of armed conflict, and the U.S. service members executing the orders would not face any legal liability. Now, opponents such as Tom point out the lack of explicit congressional authorization for military action against narcotics traffickers. Like I haven't covered this well enough yet. Yet this concern is hardly unique to the current debate. Modern presidents of both parties have ordered military actions without specific congressional approval. President Barack Obama authorized military operations in Libya and conducted extensive drone campaigns abroad. The administration of Joe Biden has ordered strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen under similar executive authorities. Even earlier in American history, now I don't want to go too far back, but a president named Thomas Jefferson initiated military action against the Barbary pirates without formal declaration of war from Congress. You know, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Yeah, that's where that's from. Reasonable people can disagree about whether employing military force against narcotics traffickers is wise policy, but describing the strategy as unprecedented or outside historical boundaries of presidential authority does not align with the historical record. In fact, when it's placed in context, the policy fits squarely within long-standing patterns of U.S. executive action in national security and maritime enforcement by both Democrats and Republicans far before this current president ever took office. Unfortunately, people like to forget history, and they want to talk about the here and now without going back, because it might step on something one of their favorite presidents did at one time, so you got to ignore that. Therefore, what those presidents did, up to and including the present one, have all been with legal precedent and within the constitutional powers, as the Supreme Court has yet to rule against any of these actions and may certainly go against Tom's morals, but not the realm of the law in the U.S. and international, both. Lastly, about the claim about the U.S. seizing oil from Venezuela. The U.S. hasn't seized Venezuela's oil. The U.S. is purchasing it for market price, and production is very low because Hugo Chavez's government, well, they did indeed seize assets from the private petroleum companies when they became nationalized. It was, hey, we're taking over all the stuff you've built, and bye-bye, you're not getting anything for it. Now, there was then nobody really qualified to perform maintenance on the equipment. Everything's been falling apart since the days of Chavez. And there's most likely going to be the former owners of those factories, those production facilities, back in charge of production again, and they will get the equipment back in shape and start producing real oil again. Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in South America and could now again be, now that Maduro is gone. So no, the U.S. did not seize the oil as in take it without compensation. Look, I am not the smartest guy out there.
Yeah, you got that right.
But what I can tell you is that I can read, and when I hear something that doesn't sound right, the probability is very high that I'm correct about that. And if I didn't bring out the actual facts, which is often very hard to do in the heat of the moment when those guys are talking about that stuff, I had to research it. But I would be doing you, the listener, an injustice if I didn't do that. That's why I wanted to address this about what that guest said just now.
Funny situation, ain't it?
Let's take a break and come back with 5 Minutes with Jack.
Barry D is back with All Politics Are Local.
And now it's time for 5 Minutes with Jack. Good morning, Jack. How are you?
Good morning to you, Barry, and how are you, sir?
I can't complain. Everything seems okay. Weather's changing, getting a little warmer. Gonna fake us out. By next Wednesday, it's gonna be like 80 degrees, and we're gonna drop back down into the 40s. But you know what? I'll take anything over what we've had so far this winter.
Agreed. It's been bone-chilling this winter. I'm ready for spring.
Yep, burning the propane, getting tired of it. Time to move on.
Speaking of spring, Barry, maybe you heard in Quakertown last week where some of the valedictorians for Quakertown High School decided that they would go on an unauthorized protest, executing their First Amendment rights to speak out against ICE.
Oh, the ice in the cafeteria wasn't cold enough?
That's
I
right.
understand that.
Apparently they thought that they would break the law by protesting against those that are enforcing the law.
Or break the law for the people that are breaking the law.
There you go.
We have a similar thing. You know, these things are happening in a lot of places, and I forgive you if you can hear my cough drop, but I got a hell of a sore throat today. We have a similar thing in Phoenixville. Was this an authorized protest? Did the school board or the superintendent or the principal say, go ahead, go do it, forget what the regulations for the school board say?
He did not authorize the students to protest or to leave campus.
Okay, and they did indeed leave campus, too? They protested
yes,
and left
they
campus?
did. Well, they took it upon themselves that they thought that they would enter the quaint little town of Quakertown and summarily start to damage property of local businesses, kicking cars and throwing snowballs at cars that were passing by.
Oh, what did the cars do to them? Is that the cars were part of the protest and like they were violating somebody's rights? Or?
They must have done something offensive.
I hope they weren't foreign cars, only domestic cars.
Maybe they confused it and some of the cars had snow on them and they correlated that to ice. They're just kids. They don't know a lot. 15, 16 years old, you don't know a lot. But what you should know is that a plainclothes police officer, Scott McEllery, who is not just a police officer, he's the chief of police of Quakertown and also the borough manager. He apparently witnessed the Utes and what they were doing and decided to intervene. They attempted to attack him, so he retaliated. And, of course, now they're calling for the police chief to be fired or to resign.
Well, that's what they always do, right? All of a sudden, heads have to roll. Mike Jr., he a good boy.
That's exactly right. My kid would never do that.
That's right.
This is all heavy-handed Gestapo tactics taking place.
Do you understand who my Brandon is? He would never do something like that. Give me a break.
Yes. So that's what it's come to. So it's coming to quaint little towns like Quakertown. And I could only imagine, had I been one of the business owners, and of course, since it's a small town, of course you would recognize the police chief, who is also borough manager. What if you saw him standing nearby doing nothing while he allowed these kids that were truant, breaking the law, leaving the school grounds in an unauthorized protest, and start damaging my property while doing nothing?
It would tell you that go ahead and do it anytime you want. That's what it would tell you.
Yes.
Do it anytime. Nobody cares. It's fine. Sure, it's illegal, but nobody cares. You know, the law is only good if it's enforced, Jack, and that's the problem.
That's exactly right, and I'm sure everyone could agree, especially small business owners, and these are mostly retail stores, so these aren't high-margin facilities. These are small mom-and-pop type shops. You can't afford to do an insurance claim, and that's if the insurance claim is even valid, because if you don't have the rider for rioting and vandalism, they're not going to pay anyways.
Right, exactly. They're not going to pay. They're going to go, sorry, that was a riot. That was whatever.
Yeah, civil unrest.
Saw that play out in Baltimore when the mayor said, just let the people riot and get out of their systems. They destroyed people's properties, and they didn't have the riot clause on there. They didn't pay the extra money for that. So guess what? They lost everything. Minneapolis, same thing. And in fact, in Minneapolis, if you wanted to rebuild your business afterwards and you were late on your taxes for a building that wasn't there anymore, you had to have your taxes paid in full before they would issue a permit. Instead of saying, we're going to waive the permit and we'll give you 10 years to pay your back taxes in addition to your current taxes in order to get business back up and running. That's how they punished the business owners that had nothing to do with the whole George Floyd thing that they allowed to continue on.
Barry, I'm confused. The people of Minnesota, don't they pay their taxes so that they have a well-funded police force to prevent civil unrest, or at least when laws are being broken, the police will ensure that they're apprehended and justice is fully executed? Isn't that part of their taxes?
You would think, and they have completely shanghaied their police department. Their police department does nothing. They just walk away until they're told to do something. They do nothing, and with good reason. They're told not to do anything. Okay, well, if you're going to pay me my paycheck and my pension, and you're telling me not to do something, well, that's fine with me because I don't want to get sued anyway.
Unbelievable, and I'm just trying to think if when I had children of this age, if I got wind that they left school to protest, they'd have a much bigger problem to contend with when they got home or when Dad found out.
And then Valley Forge Military Academy.
All private school, yes.
All private school. Oh, don't worry. You don't have to worry about it picking out your clothes now, kid, because you're wearing a uniform. Have a nice time.
That's exactly right. It's interesting, and I always thought, you know, if you look at the history of Quakertown, what they would think if the Quakers, this kind of stuff taking place.
Right. This is going on long enough. Look, they just had the situation in New York City, NYU. Police got called out to a call. It was an ambush. They got bombarded with a simple snowball fight, as Mayor Mandami said. There's videos of people with chunks of ice over their head getting ready to throw them. Chunks of, like, they broke it off the sidewalk, and it's like 1 by 1 or larger, and they're about to throw that. It is not a snowball. And he says, oh, it was just a snowball fight. It was no big deal. There were cops that went to the hospital, Jack.
Unbelievable, because isn't the mayor of the town effectively the highest law enforcement officer? Doesn't he control the police chief? That's the primary job of the mayor?
That is correct. He answers to the mayor.
So if we don't have the leaders demanding that the public show respect for the law, then what's the point of having the law.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, there's a quote from Archie Bunker that talks about going along with the law, and I'm going to recommend to my listeners that they look it up because, oh, my God, I'll have people crying because I quoted Archie Bunker. Oh, my God.
Here we go. Here we go.
He said a word. This is terrible. He's so racist. But he says, listen. And you'll have to fill in the blank. But he says, listen, there's laws, meathead, and you're supposed to follow them. Now, I'm not saying you have to follow them like German follow them, but you certainly don't want to follow them like, and the initials are PR. So you're going to have to figure out what PR stands for. So look that up. It's a famous quote from Archie Bunker. And the fact is, Latin America tends to turn their eye on it. Then they lash out. And people just disappear down in Argentina. They're just gone. Well, I don't want that either. They have two sets of rules, one for certain people and one for other people, and it's a real problem. By the way, did you see just on February 6th, the students down at Phoenixville High School, which has already got a problem, which I'm the only media speaking about, which was a teacher that was trying to indoctrinate children, talking about, and we spoke about this, talking about things that weren't true about President Trump. And look, if they're true, that's one thing, but it was still a Civil War class. It doesn't belong there anyway. I don't care if it's about Jimmy Carter or Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's not the Civil War. You shouldn't be talking about it. If you've got an agenda, do your agenda on your own time. But now, Phoenixville Area School District, they had 500 students just walk out supporting the protest on ICE, as well as they were praising their First Amendment rights. And there were some actual school board members that cited safety and instructional disruption. Well, here's the deal. This knucklehead, school board president Scott Overland, who I have called many times, or not called, but emailed, and said, hey, why don't you come on the show and talk about this? Or why don't you give me a statement? He gave no statement before about the situation with this teacher, which I understand they're still trying to track down the student that did the recording. And I heard there's like 4 different people that may have these recordings, but that's a rumor. Contacted him twice, as well as every other school board member, as well as the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. Nobody would respond to me. So clearly that was true. But now this guy, Scott Overland, expressed pride in the students for exercising their First Amendment rights and breaking official school policies to speak out against the injustice. Okay, that's according to a Facebook post that he put out. He admits this. Who are these people, Jack?
I do not know, but it's like a cancer, and if it's not addressed and if it's not excised, the cancer will metastasize.
They can protest anytime they want after school.
Yes.
Anytime. Nobody's stopping them from doing it. That's my time, right? We as taxpayers pay for those kids to be in school. My God, I sound like my dad. But the fact is, that is what it is, my friend, isn't it? Get in there. You're either learning or get out and go to a cyber school or a charter school, or I don't care what you do, but don't waste everybody else's time on that.
Yes, and certainly don't disrupt the ebb and flow of day-to-day businesses conducting business, or people trying to get to their jobs. They don't want to have to stop for a crowd of protesters in the middle of the day. And I think you're saying that the one in Phoenixville was sanctioned by the school, okayed by the school to do the walkout?
Well, I'm not sure if it was, but the school board president is cheering it on. I haven't been able to find out if it actually was sanctioned, because there are some school board members saying, I don't think this is a good idea. Oh, by the way, those school board members, they wouldn't come back and talk to me about the last situation with the teacher either. Overland has since gotten another thing, since he said he thought it was okay. You have to break the laws once in a while. I don't care if you break the laws. Don't do it on my time.
That's right.
That's it. That's all there is. So, Scotty Poo, feel free to contact me. You can come on my show and tell me what your situation is here. But you know what? These people, they don't talk to the media. They hope it all goes away. I'm disgusted by them. You can't blame the people that are school board. You people that voted for this, you got what you voted for. I hope you're proud of it.
Yes, not only for your children, but for future children, because you're setting a precedent on how to behave.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can all agree that none of these kids gave a rip about ICE or what's going on, or even what their charter is.
They don't know. They don't care. What they
No,
want to
they
do
just
is walk
they just
out of
want to get
school.
out of math class and go goof off. That's it.
Look, for the audience, Jack, truth be told, we probably did the same thing.
Oh,
Okay,
if there
I
was
admit it.
if there was
I
an
did.
excuse to get out of class, we were hoping for someone to pull the fire alarm.
I went to a funeral one time for a kid I didn't even know just to get out of school.
Yes.
Oh, half the school was there. He was such a great guy. I didn't even know who he was. I got out of school. And I still wouldn't have protested ICE. That would have been a waste of time for me.
I can assure you, if I slipped out of school, I was doing nothing to draw the attention of law enforcement.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Because that kind of misses the point, doesn't it?
Exactly.
I'm disgusted by this. I'm disgusted by these people calling for the police chief to resign. Hey, how about you do us all a favor? Take your kid out of public school and let's be done with it. If they can't seem to do the discipline, maybe they need to be someplace else, like jail. I don't care where they go. Just don't bother all the other people. That's all I'm saying. Do whatever you want someplace else. You know, when you can't count to 10, don't blame me.
Yes, another example of school vouchers.
Right. Right, you can go anywhere you want.
That's right.
What do they always say to you at the bar? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's right.
Same thing with the schools. You don't have to go home, but you can't come to the school anymore. Have a nice day. That's what needs to happen. There's enough options out there. They can sit at home in their bedroom on a computer all day long and do their schooling by computer. Then they go protest anytime they want. Knock yourself out. Have a good time. And in fact, maybe your parents are the type of parents that think that's part of a good school. Well, then you can homeschool your kids on that. But you know what? Don't do it to the other people.
Agreed.
We'll talk next week, Jack. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Barry. Have a good day, sir.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Let's take a break and pay some bills, and I'll be right back.
Barry D is back with All Politics Are Local.
Alrighty, I am back, and I'm with my one and only guest for the day. That's Mike Petro from the Triple Fresh Market in East Fallowfield, and I want to talk about his business, small business. There's very little commercial in East Fallowfield Township. They have some industrial office right on the hill that kind of overlooks Coatesville, and I think where Mike is at Triple Fresh is the largest of the three sections of village commercial. Other than that, there really isn't anything in the township, which I find very odd. And when I say small, I mean I don't think that village commercial equates to 1% of the township. I think it's pretty small. So, Mike, welcome to the show. I love your gas stations, Petro, out there everywhere.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate the time.
Oh, and I appreciate you coming on. So, I got to see you the other night. Last time I saw you, you were running for supervisor for East Fallowfield Township. We had a quick talk back then. East Fallowfield seems to be kind of a tenuous place when it comes to politics. Am I right?
It is. It is. We have a five-person supervisor board. Last election cycle last year, there were 2 seats available that came up. We had a supervisor, John, who resigned, and then one of the other seats was up for election. So me and a friend of mine, Shane Cloyd, decided that we were going to run. We did, unfortunately, unsuccessfully. But it was, as far as local politics go, in a small rural municipality, it was, I'd say, a little bit of a tenuous election cycle. So, but it was a great experience for us. Really, we thought we shined a light on a lot of things that were going on in the township, and hopefully, at least in the small part, made a difference.
I don't know much about East Fallowfield Township. They have a large agricultural area, which is nice. They preserve a lot of land in the agricultural section. And it's I don't know, a population, like 7,000?
About 7,000.
Which is a phenomenal amount of people, really, when you think about it, considering there's no real density to it. There's a few developments, and that's about it.
No, it's broken up into 2, I would say, kind of main sections. You have Coatesville adjacent, which is where the large percentage of the population resides.
Yep.
And then where our market is on the corner of Route 82 and Buck Run Road is more the agricultural side, more the rural
hinterlands.
side.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, is a little bit more sparse.
Yeah.
And
pass out that way on your way out to the Whip Tavern.
The Whip
Tavern, Mike's place.
Yep, and get yourself a Scotch egg.
Right,
they
right
do a
there.
great job.
That's right, right out there in Springdale.
Yep. There was a large part of that side, the western side of the township was King's Ranch.
Yeah.
Was a big part, which is a very renowned ranch back in the day that I think it was in the 70s that it sold. And
they sold
kind of
it
broke
off,
up. But
70s
those
and 80s, I think.
Yeah, those farms are still out there and still exist. Cherry Knoll, Fat Chance, those places. So that takes up a large part of
branches
that.
over there into West Marlboro Township and all that.
And West Fallowfield.
Yeah, West Fallowfield.
Runnymede.
So who could forget Runnymede, right? You have Triple Fresh Farm Market, and I got to tell you, I love your store.
I appreciate it.
We
do too.
In the little village of
Ursulden.
Mm-hmm. They got their Quaker meeting house there.
Yep.
When you drive through there, it's like going back in time.
It is. So, quick history about the market. We're my family's the third family to own it in over 200 years. It is the oldest grocery store in the country. It's been a market since 1818. The Pierce family was originally deeded the land from William Penn. Built the building in the market. Like I said, opened in 1818, sold it to the Websters. Websters had it for 4 generations over 125 years. My father and grandfather bought it from the Websters in 1987. So now it's me, my father, and my brother.
Yeah, you still hear it referred to as the
Websters occasionally from the older older generations.
Older generations, that's exactly it.
So, and my wife is our catering director. So we're there, every day making it happen.
And it's funny, a discussion took place at that meeting, and it shocked me when I found out that, and a lot of people may not know these places that are listening, and some may, that Hershey's, right out there in Parksburg on Route 10, right near the Walmart and all that just sold to Sheetz.
That is what I've heard. That is what I've heard.
And that was another legendary place.
Yeah. I don't know if that's 100%.
Okay.
But again, that is what I've heard. And if that's the case, there's markets like ours and Hershey's are few and far between anymore. They used to be very prevalent. And if that is the case, it's kind of sad.
It's going to be sad.
Yeah.
It's going to be really sad.
When we need something, especially in the meat world, that's my first place that I go. Wonderful staff, wonderful market. Love going there. If we have a customer that we can't fulfill, I always send them there.
Yeah.
And it's just another one in our...
Yeah, it's nice to be able to trade back and forth. We have an agricultural segment that we do on Wednesdays. We talk about the farmers and farm to table and getting things to local places like yours and things like that. And it's really important to the local farmers to have those outlets too. So when I was there, they rescinded the plastic bag ban, which is the ban du jour now among municipalities in this area. West Vincent passed one, and I got up a couple times in that meeting to talk about it. And I said, I don't understand why you're doing this. This is foolish. In fact, Litter Lifters, which emanates from West Vincent Township, they came through and did a cleanup. And in one meeting, I said, a month and a half later after that cleanup, I dropped my car off at a garage about a mile down the road. And they were like, you want to ride back? I went, you know what? I think I'm going to walk. I could use the exercise. So I'm walking back. Now, I found stuff that was on the road that they didn't pick up because it wasn't there. Since they cleaned up, people had thrown it out. Not one plastic bag. I told them that. I said, this is foolish. This is not the most common litter that you're going to find. Water bottles. Yeah. Whiskey bottles. Those little things people are tossing out the windows
the
all the time.
Airplane bottles.
Right. Crazy. Plastic bags are not it. I said, why are you doing this? After they passed it, one of the members, Dana Allen, said, we have to do something, and this is symbolic. Symbolic doesn't get you over the finish line. Symbolic is not the thing. Why are we doing symbolic things? That's not it. There's a lot of other things you could work on. That's not it. And the bags are not being generated from our locations. They're coming from other places.
Right. So when they first brought it up and initially had the vote to pass it, that was one of the arguments that I made, was East Fallowfield, and you had mentioned it before, that there aren't a lot of businesses there, and we're Triple Fresh is the biggest.
How many distribute plastic bags?
3.
Like 3?
So it's us, it's Seven Teas Pizza, and Chester County Pools.
Okay.
Which don't do a whole lot. But if it really was about the environment, if that was the concern, then why not start in Salisbury? Why not start in Thorndale? Places that have multiple businesses. Walmart goes through more plastic bags in a day than we do in a decade. If it was really about the environment, that's where you start. East Fallowfield's the last one. Like we're the end game. Not the beginning. We're not making a difference. We're not, we're just a little piece of the pie, if at all.
Right.
But it never was about the environment. That's the point. You said it's symbolic. It's a feather. It's a feather in the cap. It's a pat on the back for passing legislation.
Right.
There's no reason to do it or to take that angle, and they could never make that argument. I don't think that in the beginning they thought it would be a pushover. They thought East Fallowfield was looked at as an easy win. They get East Fallowfield, that's one township. You get enough, or a municipality. You get enough municipalities, you get the county.
It's a
you get enough. You get it right. You get enough counties, you get the state. You get enough state. So that's the way that it was looked at, and it was never looked at as does it make sense? Is it reasonable? And unfortunately for our group of supervisors or our legislation, that Triple Fresh was just looked at as collateral damage, and that was hurtful.
Acceptable collateral damage.
It was acceptable collateral damage.
That's the frightening thing.
To have a pat on the back and say, look at what we did and feel good about yourselves. Not taking into consideration what difference was it actually going to make. Especially because plastic bags and straws are such a small part of the plastics that we use.
Right. It's not like it's a fast food joint. Where you're doing that type
But
of
everything in the store is plastic. And you walk around. Every container that goes out, we wrap our meat in plastic.
Right.
Right.
It's not a whole lot. The West Vincent ban, when you read the rules on it, did not apply to bags without handles. Quite literally, if you cut your handle in the center so it was no longer a handle, the plastic bags were legal. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. Because otherwise you're getting to, is it a garbage bag?
You serious, Clark?
I am serious about that. And so I...
Thanks, Eddie.
Nice. Very good. So I couldn't understand the mentality of even that. Now, the Wawa said, you passed the ordinance, we're good with it. Well, Wawa didn't have to spend the money. It's funny seeing the people fumble with everything when they're leaving Wawa. Oh, God bless you. How did it affect your business?
Immediately after it got passed, we, of course, adhered to it. And we saw a precipitous decline over the first couple of weeks in sales. One of the things that we rely on is convenience. We're a small grocery store market, and convenience is a big part of it. We're not the business that people come in with shopping carts,
right?
And do their weekly shopping,
right? They come in there to grab a few things. That's what I do. I come by your place.
Decades ago, that's what it was, but times have changed and things have changed. So convenience is a big part of what we do, getting people in and out fast. So if you take away part of that convenience, then we saw our sales decline. The other thing was because of that, people expect that convenience, and when you take that away, it became very adversarial. And most of our cashiers, daytime cashiers, are some older folks, but our nighttime cashiers are high school kids. They're 15 and 16-year-old, mostly females, and they were getting screamed at and harassed because we didn't have bags for people, and it became untenable. And that's not something that anybody ever considered because they don't have to do it every day.
Then your employees quit, and you're like, well, that's great. Now I don't have bags or people to fill the bags.
Yeah. When the conversation came up, and I was advocating not to pass it, and I was very direct with the board, and I said, this will cost people jobs. I go, it's going to cost me sales, and it's going to cost people jobs. I'm going to have to let people go. And put that on the table, and they still voted for it.
Yeah, acceptable
collateral damage.
Damage. Hey, we got to take a break. Speaking of collateral damage, we got to pay some bills.
Oh, sounds good.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Barry D is back with All Politics Are Local.
All right, we are back with Mike Petro from the Triple Fresh in East Fallowfield Township, a store that I adore. So the bag ban got rescinded. I've never seen that before, Mike. How did that happen?
Sorry, that is it. Oh, there we go. So I think that it's kind of, sometimes local politics go, or especially in East Fallowfield, the supervisors and the board, they got this introduced and they passed it, and they didn't expect such a backlash that they got, specifically from myself and a friend of mine, Shane, who I mentioned earlier. When we ran together to be on the supervisor board, it was because of that, and it was the way that they went about it. It's not that we're against the environment; we're certainly not. Right. But there's plenty of ways that we could have gone about it, and we offered a lot of different ways to actually positively impact the environment, and a lot of them we do. We do at the market, whether there's a bag ban or not. But it was the way that they went about it. So me and Shane ran for the Board of Supervisors last year. Like I said, unfortunately it was unsuccessful, but we made a lot of noise, and it was centered around the mechanisms that caused the bag ban to be put in the first place, and felt like we really shined a light on the way that they went about that. So because of that, we stayed on it. We started a internet talk show.
Get out of here.
That me and Shane did during the campaign.
Right.
We did it a weekly and just talked about what was going on in the Board of Supervisors, what was going on in East Fallowfield. Kind of similar to you said, all politics is local. It was all about East Fallowfield politics. And we just put enough heat on them that I think in the end they looked at it and said it's not worth it.
Do you not produce that anymore?
No, we did. After the election, we did a post-election show back in November, and then we're between the market and we have Dough Run Catering and Triple Fresh Catering. We have two catering companies.
You're busy, and
December is always one of our busiest months with the holidays.
Sure.
So I got too busy with that. But I do have plans. We want to go back and do it again. But again, it was something that me and Shane got behind, and the more that we talked to folks about it and got them involved, a friend of ours, Philip, and Kevin and Jillian, a lot of friends of ours that we kind of met through the process of the election, that got behind us and started really paying attention to what was going on at the supervisor level, and again made enough noise that I think in the end they just decided it wasn't worth it. And it isn't, because it was wrong, and they knew it was wrong.
Well, did you really lose the election? Because if you had won, every time you turn around, a resident was going to come in and go, hey, Mike, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? And you're like, I'm trying to get the sandwiches done here.
That still happens, and I love it.
Right.
It's my favorite thing, other than working with my family every day. I get to go in and see my brother and my dad and my wife every day. My nephew works for us, and I love that. I love our regulars, the people that come in, and I get to talk to. And I say all the time, I have a college basketball guy, I got a hockey guy, I got a football guy, I got a politics guy. All these guys that come in and have different conversations, and I love it. and
that's part of a corner store, right?
Yep.
That's part of the corner store thing too. That you don't get that at a Wawa.
And we don't have a bar in East Fallowfield. It's a dry township, so I feel like I'm the township bartender.
Well, maybe if you do a little expansion, you could kick that off on the side there.
We're trying. We're trying.
That'd be kind of cool, actually.
But I love that part. And if again, there's another seat up next year.
Are you considering it?
We are, me and Shane, and again our kind of group that we formed. We're thinking about how we're going to go after it. Whether it's one of us, myself or Shane, or somebody else that's in our.
So you have a board of 5. How do the elections work for that?
It's offset. Usually, it's not. So that they're not all up at once.
Right. So what is it?
But it's a 6-year term.
2 and 3, or yeah. How do they run that? 2, 2 and 1, 2, 2 and 1.
Usually it's I think it's 1, 2, 2, 1.
Okay.
So next year there's 1 seat up, which is Al Wright's seat. So it's a 6-year term, and then after that there's 2 seats up.
Well, now you only won that bag rescission by a simple majority.
Right.
It was 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah. The other 2 were dead set against rescinding it. I did notice that all of the people up at the table all had plastic water bottles.
Yeah.
And one had
some styrofoam.
And a styrofoam container for some food.
Yeah. So is it really about the environment?
Now see, and that's exactly my point. If they had a cup, like a Yeti cup or something, like, okay, well, you got something there. But it wasn't. It was plastic water bottles. And these are the hypocrisies that make me crazy with our leaders, right? If you're going to do it, walk the walk. That's my thing with it. That's what's so important about it. So what are the plans? Let's do a shameless plug because we only got a couple minutes here. We've got like 4 minutes for you before I have to close out the show. Talk about what your specialties are at Triple Fresh.
First of all, it's family.
Right.
It's family.
I love that.
And that's what you get every time that you come in. We go out of our way to just be a friendly and welcoming environment. We have a great staff. We make a tremendous cheesesteak, great Italian hoagie. Here's a little known fact. So my father, when he left college, went to go to work for Wawa. Back in the Wawa early days. He actually wrote the recipe for Wawa's Italian hoagie.
Get out of here.
And now we call it Jim's Original Italian Hoagie. So you want the original Italian hoagie, you come to Triple Fresh for it. It's fantastic.
A friend of mine wrote one of their jingles. We do it just
for
a little
Wawa?
bit better at Wawa.
Yeah.
That was my friend Jerry Cohen wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, great deli, fresh meat, grocery, convenience, family friendly, and it's just a great gem in Western Chester County. And if you've ever been out there, it's a wonderful drive. We're just in the middle of between Coatesville and Unionville, right on Route 82.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You run out there on 82, and next thing you know, you're down there in Unionville and Kennett Square and all that.
And coming this summer, Richie's Water Ice. We're going to have Richie's Water Ice at Triple Fresh Market.
Is that like going to be a stand or
like a kiosk?
Yeah. Are you still doing the
barbecues?
Chicken barbecues?
Yep. So we do it one Sunday a month. It's going to start in April.
Yeah.
The first Sunday in April. So come out for baby back ribs, our homemade pulled pork, homemade barbecue sauces, half chickens, coleslaw. It's a great time. Like I said, we have Richie's Water Ice coming this summer. So we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome. I got to tell you, walking into your store, I'll never forget the first time I walked into it. It was probably around 1995 or so. I felt like I was walking back into 1963. You just walk in, you're like, wow, this is cool. You have to go out to the middle of the state, like these hidden towns, to find a store like yours now. It just doesn't exist. You have to go 50, 60, 80 miles away to find something like that. But it's just cool. You walk in and see everything, and everything's like downsized, like your little belts for the the checkouts and all that stuff. It's awesome. It's like going back in time, and all the food's so good. Are you still doing the half pie things and all that with
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
people don't want a whole pie, you get half a pie.
Half pie, cakes by the slices.
Last time I got a cake by the slice, Boston cream.
That's the best. Yeah. I'm a fan too.
Yeah, very. I went in there one time and you didn't have any. I was like, no, it's so sad. But it's right there. And what are your typical hours? What do you run?
8 to 8.
8 to 8 every day, including
every day.
Sunday?
Yep. 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
You're there on Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding? I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
I stopped over there on Christmas just to say hi and bring you gifts.
Yep.
I had no idea.
And I'm there every holiday. I'm the holiday.
Well, you're the guy that's going to watch out for it, right?
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yep, we're there every day.
You cannot ask your employees to do something that you won't do yourself. That's part of a true family-run business. Successful family-run business. You have to be able to step up and do the same thing. You got to clean the toilets. You can't just ask somebody else to do it. If they're not, you do it. So it's all about doing it all
Absolutely.
together.
I said we're there every day. So just come out and see us. Keep eyes up. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And take a look for the barbecues. Come on out. We have our own brewery label. Mm-hmm. So come out and get some Ursulden Brewing Company beer.
Stop. Really?
Yeah. Yep. Ursulden Brewing Company beer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. Hey, thanks for running for office and bringing this to light, because I was fascinated by this and getting the backstory to why. I was shocked. I'm like, nobody's ever rescinded one of these bans. What's going on? And to find out that it was all you, because, like I said, there's just not a whole lot of commercial in that town.
And I just real quick before we go, not only just East Fallowfield, but all around, local politics are just as important as anything national. Get involved, be involved in your area, in your municipality. Know what's going on. Listen.
People go to sleep, man.
Absolutely.
People go to sleep. So.
And it affects their decisions. Affect us like. Just the national stuff.
Until you get to the national, the local stuff will affect you more.
Absolutely.
That's exactly it. Well, thank you so much. Mike Petro from the Triple Fresh in East Fallowfield over there in the village of Ursulden. Thanks for being on my show. It wouldn't be right if I didn't thank that superstar producer over to my left here, Eric Clambert, for being here today. Remember, Mike, if it sounds good, it's all me. If it sounds bad, blame Eric.
You serious, Clark?
Hey, there's Eddie again. I told you it's Barry, not Clark.
Merry Christmas.
That's right. Mondays and Wednesdays, Eric and I are on the morning show. Be sure to check out this coming week when we talk about something very interesting.
Right.
Hey, I'm preaching to the choir here, but for my first-time listeners, local radio is where you need to tune in. We have your back. We tell you about what's happening in your area. That affects you most, right? Philly doesn't care about you. Those Philly radio stations care about Philly. City stuff. That is, unless their shows are syndicated and shipped from someplace like Dallas. Support the local businesses and the locally grown food. You ever eat any food that they grow in Philly? Yeah, didn't think so. But your neighbors, the local advertisers, they have what you need, and they do care about you. Local businesses are your neighbors and your friends. Support those that sponsor WCHE. They are our community. And if you don't have community, well, good luck with that. And if you like my show, take the time to send a nice note to WCHE at 953WCHE.com. If my show gives you anxiety, you know what that means, right?
You're out. Finished. You're expelled. I want you off this campus at 9 o'clock Monday morning. And I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I have notified your local draft boards and told them that you are now eligible for military service.
All righty, off to Iran with anybody who doesn't like the show. As always, thank you to the best-looking general manager of the most powerful AM and FM radio station in Chester County. That would be Donna Saul. It's her quick decision-making that brings you the programming like mine, for example, that you want to hear, or, well, maybe that's actually why people keep telling her to slow down. Be sure to like and follow WCHE's Facebook page where you can keep up on what's happening around town and the county. And you can also see updates and videos on both my Facebook page, which is WCHE and All Politics Are Local with Barry D, and my YouTube channel, All Politics Are Local with Barry D. Today's intro and outro music, what do you think, Mike? Do you know what that one was? The intro and outro music?
Boys of Summer by Don Henley.
Oh, you got it. That was one of his many solo hits in 1984 that hit number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. As a side note, Steve Picaro from Toto played synthesizers on that song. Okay. How's that for a little trivia? Final advice of the day.
Got out of Africa.
He got out of Africa and went to the beach with Boys of Summer. The bad jokes keep coming here at this show. Hey, we all know how things should be. This is your advice for the day, but sometimes they aren't. We all have to work within the parameters of what's given to us. Life can be difficult, but like swimming your way out of a riptide, you can never go against it. You have to go with the flow until there's an opportunity when it weakens to swim out of it and then come back to shore. If you try and go against it, you will simply exhaust yourself and drown. It's like politics, right, Mike? I'm Barry D. for All Politics Are Local. Thanks for listening.